Hello everyone. I have a bunch of leftover lumber from some previous projects, and I thought I'd try and build a two-handed mace out of these pieces. So the idea is to cut these into squares and then find a way to attach into some kind of handle. Anyways, let's give it a whirl and see how it's going to go. And by the way, I'm testing out this microphone that I have attached to my hat. Hopefully that'll clear up a lot of noise. Excess noise anyways. Alright, let's get going. I've set up a stop block on the other side, and I'm going to cut a bunch of these 2x6s into squares. So this should be 5.5 by 5.5 now. Hi everyone. I'm working on the two-handed mace. Originally I thought what I would do with all the scrap 2x6 I had left over was to cut these pieces square and then drill a hole in the center and then stack these and then put the handle in. But I've abandoned that, and I'm going to move to this, which I've been working on. I didn't like one of the main reasons is because I think it's important to have a properly shaped handle. I thought something that was a little bit narrower on one side and wider on the other would give more stability when you're handling. I thought about like an axe handle, how it's important that the axe has to strike. Yeah, so anyways, I've come up with this. I'm still using all the scrap 2x6. I've just decided to cut it. And then I'm going to build blocks and then insert the handle. So that's kind of where I'm at. I've got the 2x6 laid out on the table saw. I'm going to cut that for the handle. And then, yeah, we'll just keep going. So I've got the handle cut now. This is 1 inch by 2 inch. And I cut it out of a piece that's 6 feet long. There's a couple of knots in it, but I think we can work with that. I'm going to be shaping this, and so it feels better on the hands. Alright, so now I got to figure out a way to glue these blocks up. That's what we'll be doing next. So I've got two different size blocks, and I'm going to be cutting the filler pieces. Once I have those cut, I'm going to start gluing all this up and then assembling the head of the mace. So these are the small filler blocks I'm cutting. Then that's going to leave a 1 inch by 2 inch opening for the handle to fit in for each piece. Now these pieces that I'm cutting are fairly small, so I've set up a cutting jig on the saw. Hopefully you can see that. I'm sliding that piece in, and then I've got a block set underneath for the distance, and I have this piece of plywood on top which holds the block in place so I don't have to have my fingers close while I'm cutting. I think that this is important as your pieces get smaller, your fingers keep getting closer and closer to the blade. So what I did was put a stop block so that I have a consistent cut, which is that thicker board underneath, and then I put the plywood on top, and those are held in place with that brace. So when the saw comes down to cut, you don't have to have your fingers close. So we have all of our blocks cut now. Now it's just a matter of gluing these up. And then once they're glued up, they're going to fit together like that. And then the handle, which is longer than this, but it's going to fit in there. And then we'll see how that turns out. So I'm attempting to glue all of these up in one shot. I've got a piece of plywood supporting it underneath. I'm going to apply glue and then clamp it. And we'll see how it turns out. I've got this section clamped up now. I've got 2 bar clamps on the bottom, 1 on the top, and then I have these 2 clamps kind of keeping it from bowing. So I'm going to let this set. I might jump on another project for now while this sets up. Hi everyone. I'm working on assembling parts of the mace onto the handle, but I'm finding that the handle is a little bit tight fitting into these openings. So I'm going to use this block plane and just take a little bit off of the handle in order to get it to fit a little bit easier for me. This plane, I had to take off a little bit more than I thought. It's a good idea to keep these tools sharp and honed, because otherwise you can get sweaty pretty quick. That's a pretty good thickness to be taking off right there. Sometimes it might be too thick what you're pulling off. Like that's probably too thick, but this seems to be just about right. Well, I think that should make an interesting mace. I'm going to make a cut on the end so I can drive a wedge in. After assembling this, I found that it doesn't look all that interesting, so I think I'm going to try just cutting off each one of these corners and see if it looks a little more interesting. Okay, I think I like that a little bit better. But now I'm thinking maybe I should cut these ones on a chamfer, but maybe cut them deeper. That'll look interesting, I think. I'm going to try it. So I've chamfered both now. This one's 1.25 inches and this one's 3/4. I think I like it. I'm going to use this joiner here just to clean up some of these edges. So the long handle now is ready to go. I'm going to glue and clamp this as one piece. And then I'm going to take the temporary handle out once the glue sets and then put the long handle in and then secure it. And then we're going to test it out, see how it goes. Hi everyone. I finished up the two-handed mace build. A couple of things that I did. I added this hilt on the end. It's just some thin lumber that I glued and fastened. For the handle, I rounded the edges and then I added this hockey tape. And then for the top here, I cut a wedge into the handle and then I drove a cedar wedge into the top, and that's all glued in place. So the last thing to do is to try it out.